Hey everyone, so listen up. Now I have covered Palantir Stock on this channel in detail and I have given you my reasons why I love this company, but why I'm not putting any new money in the company and why I'm still invested in this company. In the last few videos, I also shared why I'm not buying or trading Palantir right now. I'll link those towards the end of this video. So in this video, I'm giving you my reasons what I feel about this stock and what I'm looking forward to in 2022. Now, before we go deep into the video, please comment and let me know if you have recently started a position in Palantir and your reason to start a position. Is it Palantir's stock price or do you think the company is on a verge of a breakthrough? Okay, so let me make a few things very clear. This is a video where I'm discussing all about Palantir's operations, business, and execution. From what we have seen, stock price has nothing to do with these metrics these days. So take it for what it's worth, and towards the end of this video, I'll share what I'm doing with this stock. So let me start with the government contract and that we can potentially assume in the coming months. So this is the data that basically draws down all the contract that Palantir has received directly as prime contractor. So we have about Department of Defense, Department of Justice, and all the other departments, government department, and all the years over here, starting all the way from 2018, going all the way to 2022, and total value of the contracts. Now, these are the numbers, of course, and numbers can change coming into 2022, but we have seen, of course, by and large, that 2020 was a massive year for Palantir, as you can see over here, and even as compared to 2021. Because, and the reason of course is obvious, is pandemic, but I'm going to go in detail in just a second. But as you can see that 2020 was a massive year where Palantir received a lot more new contracts. And then in 2021, few other contracts from Department of Energy, Department of Veteran Affairs, where it was not present a year before. So of course, Palantir won more different agency contract, while the size of the contract as compared to 2020 to 2021 decreased a little bit because of the spending. And I'm going to go in that detail in just one second. So this is what we are looking at right now. So this is 2020 right here, Q4 2020. So we have Q1 of 2020. Actually, let me just quickly draw over here, and I'm going to use a color so it stands out. Okay, so this is 2020 right over here. Okay, and then we have on this side, I'm going to draw it with a different color, and this is 2021 as over here. So pay attention to what's going on here. In 2020, we saw massive increase in, of course, and the pink line that you see is % change year over year. So in 2020, we saw massive increase in government spending because of pandemic related, and Palantir winning many new contracts in 2020. Now this is Q2 of 2020 and this is Q2 of 2021. See the difference. The light blue is the defense or government contracts right here, and green is civilian. So as you can see over here that we had massive spending from the government in Q2 of 2020 as compared to Q2 of 2021. So there is a big difference right here. So if I put a line through, you can see that this is the line, this is Q2 of 2021 and this was Q2 of 2020, and you can see we had this much more spending from the government in Q2 of 2020, but in Q1 of 2021 we had less spending. Along with that, the green is civilian numbers right here, which is basically an open market, and you can see open market is kind of similar to what we had in 2020 versus what we had in 2021. Not more, but a little bit less, but kind of similar. Now what's going on is that this is Q3 of 2020 right here. So as you can see, even in Q3 of 2020, we had this massive spending from the government. In Q3 of 2021, the spending has come down. So if I put a line over here, you can see that we had all this extra spending that we had in Q3 of 2020 as compared to Q3 of 2021, where the numbers are not looking good. Now, if you pay attention, Q4 has been historically a low month because there is not many government contract being issued in Q4 of 2020. And if you pay attention over here, Q4 of 2020, I'm going to get rid of this line, and you can see that Q4 of 2020 has a very small number from government contract. Q4 of 2020 numbers have not yet been released, but from what I'm seeing on the chart, the numbers are not going to beat Q4 of 2020. Now, we understand that even though Palantir has a steady flow of contracts, but we have to understand the pandemic effect. Pandemic times were different and the influx of new business was at a different level. And let me explain with a very simple chart, and let me actually draw this here so we all can understand. So this was, I'm gonna just draw a quick metric here. Right here, you can see, I'm gonna change the color. Now, if you can see over here, this was 2020 and this is 2021 and this was 2019, let's assume. So 2019, the businesses were basically coming along nicely over here. Then 2020, we had this huge influx where everything was, of course, needed. Palantir was considered as one of the most important companies during pandemic, let it be supply chain issues or dealing with supply chain issues or managing the vaccination and vaccination data. Then over here, we saw in 2020, the government contracting world just blew up on Palantir, and then since then we are seeing a decline. Now, if you pay attention from 2019, which we were here, I'm going to change that to this color now. In pre-pandemic level, we were just trailing at this over here. Now where we are right now in 2021, and from here on, we are going to see an increase, but the spending from 2020 is definitely less. This is 2020 right here. It was at the peak, and then this is 2021 over here, and we are seeing that the earnings or the government contract, the way the government contract are being issued has been reduced a bit. Of course, right here as the chart shows us, it has been definitely reduced from 2020. But if you compare, pandemic year has been hard overall for everybody. But if you compare this with 2019, we were here in 2019, and since then, if you just track it, we are going in a very good progression from 2019. The graph is looking good. That means more and more spending is coming from the government. But of course, you cannot match that with 2020 because 2020 being the pandemic year, the expense or the spending, government spending was through the roof. So after understanding somewhat of a relationship between the pandemic-induced growth and also the current government contract game, let's look at what Wall Street is betting on Palantir to deliver in 2022. So this is what Palantir, or this is what Wall Street is saying about Palantir. So according to Wall Street, the estimate is about 1.5 billion in revenue by 12/31/2021, and growth percentage year over year would be about 39.7%. Now, they do consider Palantir to continue growing in 2020, but their estimate is about 1.9 billion. Now, if you pay attention to around 2019 or if you pay attention to about 2020 pandemic year, you can see over here we are going to be doing at least $1 billion more by the end of 2022, but the growth is not going to be what we saw from between 2019 to 2020. The growth is not going to be the same from 2021 to 2022. The growth percentage year over year is also going to decrease as per Wall Street from 39.7% as estimated in 2021 to about 30.6% at the end of 2022. Of course, these numbers will change, but I think the graph that I shared with you over here is kind of true because the spending is not going to be there the way it was in 2020. So I expect the 2020 revenue to be kind of in comparison less than 2021 because 2021 still had the pandemic growth. Now, Palantir is spending so much money and investing so much money in so many different SPACs, and I feel that Palantir is going to gain a lot from these SPACs. I actually did a video on Palantir and SPAC investment. I'm going to link it towards the end of this video. That's an amazing video to showcase why Palantir is so interested in these new companies. I just read an article that they are into the crypto, which is going to be huge because crypto is all about data. And we know that Palantir is amazing in data. But look, their gross profit is coming from 81.9 in 2021, estimated to about 80.8 in 2022. 2022 will be a little muted year for Palantir as per Wall Street and as per the numbers shown over here. So overall, as we expected, that Wall Street is basically saying that Palantir may not be able to deliver the same metrics that they delivered in 2020 over here as compared to 2022 in terms of growth from previous year. Year over year growth is not going to be that much, which is of course understandable given all the pandemic spend that we had. Now let me share some technicals with all of you on the Palantir with the stock price prediction for the next 12 months as given by Wall Street and also some other details on the chart. So over here is consensus for Palantir. We have about 3 buys, about 30% of all the analysts covering the stock, about 8 out of 12. And then we have about 3 holds and we have about 4 sells. So the 12-month price target for Palantir is about $23.75. Last price that we saw on Palantir was $18.22. So now if we look at the chart, I'm going to actually point out a few things on the chart. So this is Palantir chart and I'm going to enlarge it in a way so we can make sense of it. Okay, so now what I'm showing you here is a chop index that I discussed in my previous video as well on Palantir chart, and the reason why I'm putting it here to kind of show you the trend over here that we have. Now this is a 50-day moving average, the yellow line that you see. The stock has been under a 50-day moving average for quite some time now. Since November, the stock has been trading lower and is actually touching the lower level of Bollinger Band for a long time now. Now, the choppiness index shows us that the stock is in a sideways trend. Basically, the price is not going to go up anytime soon as per the choppiness index over here. Now we are also seeing the same thing in ADR, that basically telling us that the price or the Palantir stock is on a downtrend, is following a trend, and the trend is downwards right here. Now, the only thing that I see that can help the stock is the earnings that is coming up for Q4. But as we know, and as we have seen from the chart, the Q4 earnings is not going to be massive. They have never been massive. The government spending is not there. People on vacation, government not spending any new money because the fiscal year just started. The contracts start to pick up towards the January, February, and March of the new year, which is going to happen. Now, other thing to note over here is that anytime the stock has traded under the 50-day moving average, it has seen an upside in the coming days. I feel that the stock is getting ready for the upside as we get close to the earnings and as we have some more positive momentum come back into the stock. So I think right now where it is, if you're playing short term, you can easily get in and get out, because I feel the stock is going to see that 24 level that the price or the next 12-month price target 23.75 in the next, I would say, towards the earning as get closer, we can see the price inch higher to that level and cross that level as well. But the stock, this particular stock or Palantir stock, has a very hard, I would say, resistance right at 27 and 28.50 level. We have seen time and again the stock has not been able to cross that level right here. Anytime it touches, it comes back down. So if you are planning to get in the stock right now at 18.21, still a huge upside for that resistance, because this 18 level is an amazing, I would say, entry point for the stock given where we are right now. We have seen the Omicron news, we have seen the big sell-off, we have seen the market take a U-turn, yet the stock maintained that 18.21 level. But again, we have seen the price go down to 16.50, but of course that was in May when we had that huge crash. Since then, the stock has actually respected that support level of about $18. So in my opinion, 2022 will be an exciting year for Palantir investors and also for the company. I'm keeping my ears and eyes open for insider trading, because that is what will make me decide if I want to actively invest in this company or sit on the sidelines for now. I have about 3,000 shares right now, and I'm underwater as my average is about $20 a share. And I have few open contracts which I plan to close in the next run-up, hopefully before the earnings. I believe in what company is doing and also in the technology, but we need to really look at the company subjectively, because you can always buy the stock back, and if an investment is not earning me at least 7 to 10% return in a year, then really I don't want to be in it for now. This is what has changed for me in the last few months, as I feel that 2022 will be full of ups and downs, and I need my cash to work for me harder. I hope I provided some value, and if you like the video, then give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if you'd like to talk about this and much more, then join our Discord. Details are in the description below. As always, an absolute pleasure to share all of this with you. Until next time, you all have a sparkling day.